Today we going to look at the role Protestants played in the history of Ethiopia. This counterfeit Christianity was pregnant with malicious ideas. Many of these serpents were from Sweden and Germany. These pastors did not come to learn Christianity but to inject Ethiopians with their poison, which they called Protestantism. The Emperor Menelik II rightfully banned Protestants missionaries from entering Ethiopia in 1842. However, after his death in 1912, Zewde came to power, and shortly after came the Emperor Haile Selassie. Due to his affiliation with the Queen of England and the war with Italy, the ban on Protestants was lifted. These children of serpents did not waste any time to continue their evil intents in Ethiopia. As the German Johann Kraft had written in his book, "Give us the Gallas and Africa is ours." After the ban against the Protestants was lifted, these Swedish Protestant missionary established a printing company in Asmara, Eritrea. It is from there that they proceeded to rewrite Ethiopian history with the hope that it would give them political power someday. Perhaps in the near future this printing establishment would enable them to remove the Amhara emperor and replace him with a Galla prime minister. This is not an exaggeration on my part but a fact when one reads their literatures. A certain pastor by the name, Johannes Kolmaden, was sent to Ethiopia to conduct this malicious intent. He went on to publish a book written in Eritrean dialect about the history of Hamasane people of Eritrea. In that book, he began to distort the history of Ethiopia by saying that, more exactly, the Gallas and the Somalis would be descendants of the slave of Rachel, and the Bereas, with the people of Ualkate, would be descendants of the slave of Leah. This Johannes Kolmaden makes sure that he does not name all the 12 tribes of Israel properly. He adds names like Minab and replaces Joseph with Moshe on purpose. Johannes Kolmaden then presents his falsified history as a result of a research he had conducted in Eritrea. 9. Genealogy of the men of Hamasane. Here is what we learned, in response to our questions, from the elders and the P56 people well informed about the genealogy of Hamasane men. The visit of the Queen Sheba to the King of Kings Solomon. The good Lord, having caused everything he had created to perish in the flood, had spared an elect, named Noah, with his 3 sons, Shem, Ham and Japheth, lest the lineage be broken. Later, Noah, the father of the 3, gave an inheritance to Shem the Getzi, the whole land of T55 he east, and to Japheth all the land that extended from there to the west. As for Ham, installed him here, where we are. For Jerusalem, which was in the middle of the 3, he decided that the chosen one of them should have it as an inheritance. Then a certain Abraham, son of Ter, of the descendants of Shem, was elected and inherited Jerusalem. He fathered Isaac and Asmael. Isaac begot Jacob, Jacob begot Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Moshe, Minab and 6 other sons, the ancestors of all the 12 tribes of Israel. After the time the serpent reigned over the people of that land. Now the saints came and killed the serpent, the ruler of this people. Then Makeda, the queen of Azeb, transported with fury, killed the saints. Then their curse struck her, and one of her feet was like a donkey hoof. And since she wanted to get married, she was very upset about this foot that she had. Later she learned that one named Solomon, son of the King of Kings, David, had become king in Jerusalem. If you went to see him, they told her, you would be cured by putting your foot on the threshold of his house. This is why the queen of Azeb went to the King of Kings, Solomon. So, as we had told her, her foot healed, when she entered through the door of the King of Kings Solomon. King Solomon welcomed her in a magnificent way and had a sauce served, which burned his throat. Then he said to him, I will not touch what is yours, and neither will you touch what is mine. Having said this, he went to bed. Now King Solomon, when he went to bed, had his eyes opened, when sleep prevailed, and closed, when he was awake. When Solomon had closed his eyes, Her Majesty Queen Makeda, having her throat burned by the sauce, went to draw water to drink, believing that he had fallen asleep. Seeing this, he came to grab her. So the queen said to him, Say, leave me for the moment, it's that I want to drink. After that, you will do your will. Greater than in this way the queen of Azeb was pregnant with the King of Kings Solomon. After spending some time there, she returned to her country. So when she had come to the river which lies between Adikantsi and Uoki-Deba, the day of her delivery arrived, and she gave birth to Menelik, at the place called Ajat Bela. The midwives, asking for water for the lotions, shouted in great haste, Quick, bring some water. Bring water. My Bella. From this moment this river is called My Bella until now. March of Menelik in Ethiopia. When Menelik was grown up, the children insulted him by naming, son of a woman. So he asked his mother saying, Say, mother, whose son am I? Who is my father? His mother said to him, Go away. Your father is in Jerusalem, he is the king of kings, Solomon. So Menelik went to see his father in Jerusalem. The king of kings Solomon received him with great honors and made him king, saying to him, Go and govern your mother's country. And he gave him some children of Reuben as companions, some children of Simeon, some children of Moshe, some children of Minab, some children also of Judah, of his own brothers, and some children of Levi to serve as his clergy. For guide him in his walk, he also gave him a holy ark, that is to say the ark of Saint Michael. But the children of Levi, who knew the interior and the secret chambers of the temple, left there the arch of Saint Michael and carried away, while leaving, the arch of Notre Dame. When they had said goodbye and they were set in motion, King Solomon immediately understood that on leaving they had taken Zion away. Accordingly he pursued them on horseback with his army, to overtake them. So as the sea did this which she had done of old for Israel, Menelik and his people passed through the sea. When the king of Solomon kings came to see, he dared not follow them, because he remembered the fate of Pharaoh. But Menelik and his people came to this country. So the children of Judah went to Shoa with the royal family. However, a brother of Menelik, named Zagwa, son of the king of kings, Solomon and a servant of the queen of Ezeb, stopped at Lasta. Most of the children of Levi went to Temben, but a few followed Menelik to Chua. The children of Simeon went to Seloah and the children of Reuben to Quara. The children of Moses settled in Agameh and the children of Minab in Dembia. So they occupied this country and encamped here. Then, always continuing in the same way, they spread successively throughout the country of Ethiopia. There are those who maintain that there are in this country besides the 6 tribes enumerated from the descendants of 4 other sons of Jacob, who are called Dan, Naphtali, Gad, Asher. More exactly, the Gallas and the Somalis would be descendants of the slave of Rachel, and the Bereas, with the people of Ulkate, would be descendants of the slave of Leah. How this country received the name of Hamasane. First of all, when our ancestors, the sons of Esrael, came to this country, the Mohammedans had settled there. One day, a part of ours, having met men in the fields, the plundered. When they asked them, Where are you from? Come on, say it. They replied, From the mother-in-law of Hossein Hamid Hezin. Those of us who had gone on the raid, having returned to their quarters, said to their comrades, These men, when we asked them where they had come from, said, Of Hamasane. Obviously, the name of this land, which is in front of us, is Hamasane. This is why this country received the name of Hamasane. However, there are also those who argue that Hamasane is the name of a great man. First inhabitants of Hamasane. The people who first inhabited this land of Hamasane, among the children of Ham, are called Dinah and Phanah. This name of Dinah and Phanah is properly the name of a man and a woman, but later their children and their grandchildren, finally all their posterity, were called of this same name of Dinah and Phanah. They were very rich, to build and plaster they used gold, even for their homes. And all wild beasts, including the elephant, were subject to them. But finally another people, called Soba and Noba, came to exterminate even that people. Next it was said thus, Alas, what an ephemeral world, which couldn't even last for Dinah and Phanah. The names Soba and Noba also, although they formed many peoples, are known by the name of their father and mother. These again, another people came to expel them from this country. Because of this, nowadays, except their name, there are no more trace of them in this country. But there are those who say thus, if one travels quickly for 2 months towards the south and for 3 weeks towards the west, one will find them. Also, to this day, meeting an elderly man, we call him greater than contemporary of the Soba Noba. As for the peoples who immigrated after these, the name of their father is Balau, and the name of their mother is Chalau. This is why they are called Balau and Chalau until now. By their origin, like all the people who lived here before them, they too are children of Ham. However, there are others who say, no, they are Mohammedans, of the descendants of Asmael. In their time, these Balau Chalau were also powerful, but later, their hour having come, God exterminated them. Those who came after them are the peoples who are there now, of the descendants of Jacob, who immigrated to Ethiopia with King Menelik I, of the sons of Reuben, of Simeon, of Levi, of Judah, of Joseph and of Minab. So there are descendants of all 6 in Hamacin. Les enfants de Minab, les decatessem et leurs frères, qui devin rent dans ces pays les plus nombreux et les plus puissants. Immigration of Minab's children to Hamacin. From the ancestors of the Decatessem, it was the king of kings Marin, who came first to this country. After leaving the desert of Endisaese, he came to settle in Jesk-Nasam. Then this country was only a black jungle, abounding in trees and animals, in waters and in marsh. Moroni, residing in Geshenasam, reigned over the country. This one was the father of Faluk, Maluk and Sealuk. When the 3 sons were grown, Maluk left his brothers and went to the country Dakilguzai. Faluk also left Jesk-Nasam and went to settle in Ametsi. But the youngest, Sealuk, stayed with his father. Faluk, residing in Ametsi, fathered his 6 sons there. Here are their names: Dambezanoi, father of Zanoi, Uord Merit, Techest Baron, Simertsum and Simerdub. As for the 6th, his name and posterity are lost, and he has no descendants. Of the 5 others, it is Dambezanoi who engendered the Decatessem and the Bayaushgede. Uord Merit procreated the Adihanis, and Techest Baron procreated the children of Neaman. Simertsum begat the Adikalam and the Dekizaru, and Simerdub is the ancestor of all the children of Toshe. Sealuk procreated the Jesknasam. Genealogy of Moroni. Before coming here, Moroni had lived with his father Gwaluk in the Minamer desert, in the plain called Tekale. This is also where he was born. As for Gwaluk, we do not know the residence of his parents, but he and his ancestors before him were nomads in the desert. Here is their genealogy: Gwaluk, son of Sinna, Sinna, son of Minab the last, Minab the last, son of Guma, Guma, son of Senna, Senna, son of Simshama, Simshama, son of Minab. This other Minab, gathering his people, went out of his country, of the Dembia, and went into the desert, into the land of the Bereas, where he went down to the land of Kasala. He, his children and his grandchildren up to Gwaluk died without having founded a village or a hereditary domain. From this Minab to Saul, son of Kis, king of Israel, there are about 30 generations, but there is no one who can say all their names. From Saul, son of Kis, down to Minab, son of Jacob, the books of Israel list them all together. There are also those who say, greater than, but no. Here is the genealogy from Moroni. Moroni, son of Guma, Guma, son of Bride Entrave, son of Barak, Barak, son of Shemanegas, Shemanegas, son of Dambezan the skin, son of Hama, Hama, son of Gwaluk, Gwaluk, son of Apha-Uorc, son of Saul, Saul, son of Uoldkis, Uoldkis, son of Minab II, son of Bloody Toge, son of Minab, son of Jacob. These also maintain that it is Gwaluk, who left Dembia and descended into the desert. Still others name Moroni's ancestors as follows: Moroni, son of Shemachur, Shemachur, son of Dembe, Dembe, son of Jacob, Jacob, son of Semirsian, Semirsian, son of Minab. 2 And they maintain that it is Dembe who emigrated from Dembia. How the Jesknasam were cursed. Later, as Moroni had grown old, Sealuk sent say to his 2 brothers, "Come. It is necessary to contribute to the maintenance in your father." Then Faluk and Maluk, having concerted one with the other, went down to Jesk-Nasam to see their father. But then they found their father Moroni already dead. Indignant, they wanted kill their brother, saying, "Our father being dead, he therefore dared to say to us, we must contribute to his upkeep." Then they repented, saying, "We saw him born, how could we kill him?" And they left him in peace. Then, when they had finished their mourning and were about to set off after seeing their father's tomb, they cursed Sealuk, saying to him, "Don't you branch out into hamlets. May you not fill the shadow of this sycamore. Don't miss supper." Then they returned to their country. The descendants of Sealuk, following the curse of his brothers, did not build other hamlets or other villages. His descendants, all counted, are the inhabitants of the only village of Jesknasam. And even these, though assembled all in one place, would not make a very great number, the shade of a single sycamore is enough for them. Even today, their land is enough to give them supper, but there is nothing to be proud of or acquire wealth. Thus the curse of the brethren is indeed fulfilled today. The descendants of Phaluk and Maluk on the contrary has become extremely numerous. Those procreated by Phaluk, although they have some representatives and several others in rights too, are referred to as the entire population of Hamasin, and the Bayaush Gede also belong to them. And those that procreated Maluk alone make all the Ekalaguzai. The tomb of Moroni is a well-known place even today. It is located near the causeway, where there was once a quarter of the village, now in ruins. Later, men from the Ekul Guzai came to hold a thing there, and saying, "Here is our father's tomb." They then erected a tumulus there. Formerly the church of Moroni, the house of Saint Michael, stood here, and nowadays, in the vicinity, a church of the Holy Savior has been built. Genealogy of the people of Jesknasam. As for the inhabitants of Jesknasam, on the contrary, they claim to be children of Phaluk. There are others also who accept this claim, saying that their genealogy is as follows. It was Phaluk who stayed in his father's house. Resident there he fathered Dembazin the crippled and Burchina, those two only, according to them, the six, including Zanoi, are children of the son of Phaluk, from the Cantiba Dembazin. Burchina, who also stayed in his father's house, fathered three sons, Gedbo, Salo and Jesknasam. It is this Jesk-Nasam who would have been cursed by his brothers. As for the descendants of Gedbo and Salo, it is said that they can be found at Ekul Guzai. Similarly, as for Sialuk, it is said that he went to Ekul Guzai with Maluk, and that the Meridas of Sebene and the Red Meridas are his descendants. Descendants of Uord Merit. Uord Merit, leaving Ametsi, the residence of his father, went to settle in Ad Tekalazan. He fathered the Cantiba Hannis. The Cantiba Hannis, leaving Ad Tekalazan, entered Adi Hannis first. He, under the title of Cantiba, reigned as governor, in particular he reigned over the coast. It is not clear from whom he derived his dignity of Cantiba, but some suppose that he was from the Nabe. Among other things, it is the fact that he reigned over the coast that makes this believe. The Cantiba Hannis fathered Jacob. Those whom Jacob procreated, live in the village which is called by the name of Cantiba Hannis, in Adi Hannis. Similarly, there are those who maintain that Samare also, the father of the Debri, is the son of the Cantiba Hannis. But most say, but no, because he was a highly esteemed servant of the Cantiba. Then, as it pleased the Cantiba Hannis very much, accompanying him on raids, he swore to give him what he wanted. He asked for heredity. Then the Cantiba was afflicted and said to him, "I believed that you would desire cattle, a command, riches, can the heredity, belonging to the sons, be given?" However, as the given word was once sacred, he gave her the land where her descendants now dwell. But he was not his own son. Descendants of Techest Baron. Techest Baron also, leaving his father's house, established his abode at Adi Neaman. He fathered Neaman and Enkaru. Neaman fathered three sons, Mosi Baron, Akel Baron and Sarek Baron, and the village is called by his name to this day. From his sons the named Sarek Baron begat Tare, Bagation, Tedros and Awale. From these Tare and Bagation emigrated to Malatsani, and their descendants are also there until day. It was Bagation who engendered the family of the priest Ioas. Tedros is the founder of the House of Egale, and from the House of Egale, there are also some who emigrated to Abrasico. The children of Enkaru, according to the name of their father, are Enker, that is to say, little thing. They too are in Adi Neaman. Descendants of Simertsum. Simertsum went to settle at the place called Ualta Medhanit from Anseba. He fathered Zuru. Zuru went down to Melabso and settled there. He fathered Otto Baron and Mosa Baron. Mosa Baron settled in the village called Deki Zuru of Anseba, and Otto Baron settled in Deki Zuru of Dambazin. In this way, these two villages received the name of their father. Otto Baron fathered Biamin, Shemarab, Semarishan and Sharif. Of these, Semarishan emigrated to Atakalam, then, likewise, his nephews, the sons of Biamin, also followed him there. Shemarab begot Jacob, Agaba and Heb-Selasah. Of these, Agaba also went to Atakalam, Jacob returned to Deki Zeradu Anseba, Ebjaase remained with his uncle Sharif at Dekaizaru from Dembazin. In these places are established the children of Simertsum, descendants of Simerdub. Simerdub remained in his father's house. He fathered Bidal and Toch. Of these two, Bidal went first to Adabidal. Toch had remained at Ametsi, then he moved on to Adtekalazen. Later Bidal's children, returning to Ametsi, acquired the right of inheritance. Thus the descendants of Bidal, son of Simerdub, are found in Adabidal and Ametsi. Toch begat Semarishan, Abraham and Tekalazan. From these, Semarishan descended to Halal, and his posterity is still there. Abraham also followed him there. Most of his descendants are found in the land of Halal, namely the tribes known as Adi Gebsa and Adatsefa, and there are also some at Deketros. Tekalazan, on the contrary, settled in the residence of his father, in the village called by his name, and his descendants took possession of Ad Tekalazan with its hamlets, such as Uera, Digdig and Embedurho of Damebazan. Thus Tekalazan was the founder of the houses of Teklihamanot, Shaflam and Elos. Here is their genealogy. Tekalazan begat Sarausgede, Sarausegede begat Pharameka, and Pharameka begat Teklihamanot and Ebtai. It is Teklihamanot who is the ancestor of the house of Teklihamanot. Hebtai begat Sebadal A flat, Sebhadlib begat Fekroy, and Fekroy begat the Cantiba Ger Selassie. The Cantiba Ger Selassie engendered the Cantiba Shaflam and Asgadam. This is the Cantiba Shaflam 10 which is the ancestor of the house of Shaflam. Asgadam begat Elos, he who is the founder of the house of Elos descendants of Damebazanoi. Damebazanoi, son of Faluk, left Ametsi, the residence of his father, and settled in Malatzanai, in Anseba. There he fathered Zanoi, this is why this village was called Malatzanai, that is to say, birthplace of Zanoi, Melad Zanoi. Zanoi left Malatzanai and lived in Quandeba, in Karnesum. There he was born to 5 sons. Those are, Solomon, Meketer, Hadems, Esbai and again Hielo, whom he had the wife of one of his shepherds. It is because of this that his mother imagined for him the name of Hielo, that is to say, the one who has begotten by rape Haley. Of the 5 sons of Zanoi, Solomon went to settle in Deki Gabru and Meketer in Deki Mahare. Solomon begat Gabru, and his descendants still live in the village which is called of his son's name.